Hi, this is Beverly Fast Sinclair, founder and president of Take That Listing, here to share with you 3 mistakes you never want to make at going to a listing appointment. They're pretty easy. The first one I call the all about me. That is where I've seen some agents, myself included in the past, unfortunately, have gone on and on and on about myself, my interests, what my hobbies were, where I went to school, etc. Now, it's very important for you to find some kind of tie-in with the seller so that they feel something in common with you, like there's some rapport. A little goes quite a long way. I found it's best if you can drop off some information ahead of time, whether a packet of information about you, or better yet, even email it to them. And I would tell sellers when setting a listing appointment, I'd say, I really want to share with you a little bit about me, who I am as a person, and why I am qualified for the job of selling your house. But when we sit down and talk, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I want to focus on you. By the way, that's where the emphasis should be, is on the seller. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm going to be emailing or delivering a packet of information today about who I am, what I've done, a little bit about me as a person, and our listing process. It's real important that you take a little bit of time, just a few minutes, to look over that before our appointment. And then make sure you get that to them as soon as you hang up the phone, especially if it's an email. Then when you get to the appointment, you can say, did you get my email? Did you get the package? Did you have a chance to look it over? Great. Did you have any questions? And, just say, I appreciate you taking a look at that, because now, sitting here with you, I want to focus on you, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller. I want to focus on what it is that would make this home move a 10 out of a 10 for you. I want to focus on the things that would make this the best possible thing ever for you and your family. The second mistake I've seen agents make, and I myself have made, is to not ask enough questions. Now, by that, I mean we as agents sometimes assume a lot of things. We may assume we know why the seller's moving. I used to think, well, everybody wants the highest price and everybody wants the quickest sale. While I would agree that the vast majority of people have that quite high on their list, it may not be what's keeping the seller up at night. What his heart is telling him is worrying him, the things that are really pulling on his heartstrings. The way you find out what that is, and that, by the way, is their true motivation, is you've got to get good at asking questions. And don't take the first answer they tell you. A conversation might be, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thank you for having me here. Why are you thinking about selling your house? Well, I got a new job in Texas and I have to report there by the 1st of next month. Great. You still haven't gotten to what's really concerning him. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you need to report by the 1st of next month to Texas because of your job. What one thing about selling this house and getting it sold so that you could accomplish that is important to you? Asking what about X is important to you, or what about X helps you, those are good qualifying questions. They help drill down and to get to what the seller's true motivation is. Seller may say, well, I've got to report to my job, my family's going to be here. If it's a man, he may say, my wife is going to be here with our 4 kids, handling the sale of the home, and the kids all by herself. That's going to be tough on her. That could be something that's pulling at his heartstrings. But even with that, there might be a little bit more. Really, and if you were able to accomplish this quickly, what would that do for you? How will that help you? You could say, you know what? I want us to be together as a family. I don't like that they're here and I'm there and we're living this long distance. But unless you get good at asking questions, at least 2 or 3 levels down of qualifying questions, you're probably not going to find out what's really important to the seller. And we don't want to assume we know. We want to find out what's really important to them. The third thing that I've seen agents do is not prepare the house for sale. And by this, it's a type of staging, but it's not, people say, well, I'm not a decorator and I'm not an interior designer. I don't know how to stage a house. That's fine. You don't need to be any of those things to have some common sense about what needs to happen to make a house appealing to buyers. Now, some of this makes common sense. For example, when you drive up to the house, what do you see? Do you see overgrown hedges? Do you see trees that are drooping down that people have to duck under to walk to the house? Do you see shutters that need to be painted? bring the seller out and have them look at the house like they've never seen it. Say, if you were a buyer and you've never seen your house before and you drove up, what do you see? Now, the same goes true for the inside. There's some common sense things like they shouldn't have dirty dishes in the sink. If the carpet is dirty, they should shampoo it. If there's a dog smell or some kind of foreign cooking smell in the house, that needs to be addressed as well. Remember, you as the agent are their fiduciary. You are the one that is responsible to give them the very best information that will help them that you can. And if there's an overwhelming pet odor, when you walk in the door and you notice it, buyers are going to notice it too. So in a calm and respectful way, bring that up with the seller. Say, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I saw you have Fluffy here. I've got 2 dogs myself. I love my dogs. I also know that the buyers aren't going to love my dogs like I do. And I could smell Fluffy a little bit when I walked in. Have you thought about getting Pet Fresh, installing an air cleaner? You know, different things like that. Now, if you're not comfortable talking to the seller about that yourself, it's okay. I've got a free checklist for you. You can download this easily, it's no fee, but it will go through and give you the opportunity to walk through with the seller and let them rate their home on these different points, or it's a checklist you could leave behind with the seller. It's really important that you do these things, Mr. Seller, because we want to make sure that we get you to your house in Houston, get your job there, and get your family with you as soon as possible. And the way that we do that, we make your house appeal to 49 out of 50 buyers. Sometimes it takes undecorating, which means paint the purple bedrooms. Or maybe it means, you know, I can tell Fluffy's been in here and she's had a few accidents. We need to get the carpet shampooed. Or whatever the case may be. You need to address things with the seller, but again, be kind and be respectful, because you want the sellers to know that you're in it together with them as a team and you're trying to accomplish the very best job you can for them.